We're going to call our meeting to order, the Clarksburg Water Board. And at this time, I'd like everybody to stand and
I think we've got somebody back here.
pledge allegiance. Who can lead us back there?
How
Who?
about this little girl here?
What's your name?
Olivia Crawford.
Olivia what?
Crawford.
Olivia Crawford. Where do you go to school?
I did another four.
Nutterford Elementary or primary or intermediate? What grade?
Intermediate.
So you're intermediate. Okay, would you lead us in the pledge of
You
allegiance?
just want me to say it?
You're going to lead us. As you say it, we'll read it with you. Okay, say it with you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's give her a round.
Olivia, what grade are you in?
I'm in fifth
In fifth grade. How long have you been in school there?
grade.
Since your first grade?
I was in there since kindergarten,
Oh,
but I did leave in third.
I was gonna say, I may have seen you before. You ever go to the flag day when they pass the flags out to the kids in the cafeteria? You don't remember that?
You can still sign this thing out.
How about reading class? Didn't they come and read to your class when you were in the second grade?
Yeah, they did. Oh, you did?
Yeah. Oh, what's that? She just lit up there.
I've been doing it for several
love
years,
it.
and I go into a supermarket, and I see the little kids at registers pointing and talking, and I find out that either I've read to them or did a flag day for them, or checked their eyes with the Lions Club. Olivia, thank you very much.
Thank you very
much.
Okay.
Next
Let's
time,
move
bring
on to
fruit,
call.
throw it at 'em, okay?
Here's our call to order. Mr. Howe?
Here.
Mr. Sigmund?
Here.
And I'm here. This time, we have our area of communications and public comments. And before we do that, I want to do something. Our newspaper gentleman in the back, Logan. Stand up, Logan. Logan Cottrell's been covering us for the last several months in the Clarksburg newspaper and has done an excellent job reporting what we do here at this meeting. He is leaving us. This is his last day of the covering the water board and in our city. Can I mention where you're going? Can I mention it? No,
Yes.
I can.
Go for it.
And I'll make sure I get this right. You're going to go to work in Morgantown, staying with the newspaper business at the Dominion Post, right?
Yes, sir.
We wish you luck. Our attorney's familiar with Morgantown, so when you see any listings under whatever, police arrest, that's this guy. No.
I'll read you every morning.
We have something for you. Our general manager will present this to you. And
Go ahead and read that.
we have a very nice mug, and these are very nice. It's not a cheap thing, but it's very, very nice. And it's
Open it
wrapped
up.
It's like this. Is it like this one here? Probably even better.
Maybe.
This is bigger.
Just a token of appreciation. Now, we wouldn't give that if you were still reporting on us, so they're trying to influence you. Since you're leaving the town, you can drink about that and think about us and drink right out of that, okay?
Thank you all.
Thank you. Everybody go to social media. We've got a very nice certificate.
Read it. Go ahead and read it there.
It says, a certificate of appreciation presented to Logan Cottrell in grateful recognition of your outstanding work and dedication as a news reporter. The Clarksburg Water Board thanks you for your service and wishes you continued success in your new role. Your commitment to honest and impactful reporting has made a lasting difference in our community, and it's presented this 14th day of May 2025, signed by yours truly and by our general manager, Jason Myers. And Jason, would you?
Here, come on over and get a picture with me, man.
Okay, somebody's going to take a picture.
I'll get you.
All right. Gotta make sure it's my right
Logan is
side.
one of a kind. We want to make sure we
Oh, you're supposed to make sure I get the right
show
side.
you how appreciative we are. You covered us, like I said, very honest.
I gotta
Very
ask,
honest article.
I gotta ask Paul and Chad, is this my best side? We all laughing at. Here you are, buddy. Get 5 here this way. Now I get it. We can drop it out. Just do it this way. Gotta know how to do this. And what kind of,
Ready?
got it?
Okay.
That's great. Good.
Thank you, buddy.
Ready? Come on. Don't be a stranger, okay?
I tell
I've
you,
been
it's
really
really
good.
good.
Less than 4 already, so.
surprised me. I didn't know that was coming.
Not at all.
That's just one of those packs that keeps things dry. Don't put that in your coffee.
All right, we have Justin Crawford that wishes to address the board. So you can have the floor, sir.
Mr. Crawford, you want to give us your name and where you're from?
Justin Crawford. I live in Nutter Fort, West Virginia. Water fluoridation has been a controversial topic for decades. While proponents argue it prevents tooth decay, critics raise concerns about potential health risks, ethical implications, and questionable effectiveness. Fluoridation is a form of mass medication as it is intended. It is added to the water to treat the population rather than the water itself. This violates informed consent, a key medical ethics principle. This means everyone, regardless of need, is exposed the same. This raises concerns about autonomy, especially in contexts where individuals cannot opt out without significant effort, such as specialized water filtration and buying water bottled. The potential health risks of fluoride exposure are a significant concern supported by various studies. Dental fluorosis is a well-documented effect, with a 2010 CDC report finding 41% prevalence among American adolescents aged 12 to 15. Beyond dental effects, recent research has shown higher levels of fluoride equates to lower IQ in children. There have been about 90 studies done over the decades linking fluoride exposure to lower IQ. Most of these were group analysis of people getting higher than recommended amounts of fluoride occurring naturally in the water. The recent Rivka Green study done in Canada, the first prospective study using individual exposure data dealing directly with community water fluoridation, receiving optimal fluoridated water. None of the municipal fluoride levels exceeded 1.5 parts per million, and the vast majority, over 90%, were under the United States target of 0.7 parts per million. This study of more than 500 mother-child pairs found higher fluoride exposure during pregnancy appeared to translate to lower child intelligence measured at age 3 to 4. This study showed an IQ loss of up to 5 to 7 IQ points, which is on par with lead exposure. The National Toxicology Program, which is part of the United States Department of Health and Human Services, that evaluates substances for potentially harmful human health effects, released a draft evaluating fluoride exposure and neurodevelopment cognitive health effects, concluded that, quote, based on a systematic review of the evidence, the NTP concludes that fluoride is presumed to be a cognitive neurodevelopmental hazard to humans. Proponents of fluoride will argue that cavity rates will increase without fluoride, such as one study in Calgary, Canada. They removed fluoride and decay rates increased, but if you look at the data, the rates were already going up prior to removal. They only show you the data from when it's removed. The effectiveness of water fluoridation is increasingly questioned given global trends. Data from the World Health Organization show that tooth decay rates have declined similarly in both fluoridated and non-fluoridated countries over the past decades. For example, non-fluoridated countries like Denmark, Germany, and the Netherlands have lower rates of decay, missing, and filled teeth than fluoridated countries like the United States and Australia. A recent report from the Cochrane Collaborative came out saying, after reviewing all the data, water fluoridation is only reducing cavities by about a quarter cavity per person. 96% of the world's population does not drink fluoridated water, and decay rates are going down globally. This could be because of education and how available topical applications of fluoride are. The topical application is where the benefits come from, not ingestion. And proponents of fluoridation will also claim the low income will be disproportionately affected. But fluoride is everywhere. It's in almost all toothpaste, mouthwash, dental floss, varnishes, and even by prescription. You can get fluoridated toothpaste from the dollar store, and many clinics and dentists give it away for free. This should be an individual choice. We should not be mass medicating everyone the same. There's no way to know how much fluoride someone is getting, how much water they drink a day. Are they also cooking soups and pasta with fluoridated water? It is naturally occurring in green tea and black tea. People could easily be overexposed to fluoride, and for what gain? To prevent a quarter of a cavity at the cost of our children's neurodevelopment.
Thank you very much. What was the name of the study you cited up in the beginning? I'm not quick enough with my pen to write it down.
The main study was, published by JAMA Pediatrics,
How do you spell that?
JAMA.
Oh, JAMA, okay, I know what it is. Pediatrics. Is there a date on it or anything?
I can't remember.
That's okay, I can research it.
Yeah.
Going on both sides of this thing, trying to sort through it's been
Yeah.
challenging. Okay, who else? Thank you for coming.
The next speaker is Carlene Long. Yes,
Corleen.
Corlene.
Oh,
Corleen.
it's okay. It's very easily mispronounced.
Okay,
Now, tell us who you're with and
Yes.
where you're from.
So, pull up my little, there we go. My name is Corleen. I'm here today from Morgantown, West
How
Virginia.
do you spell your name?
Corleen. Last name is Long, Long. And I'm here today with Crossroads Property Rescue. We are the restoration superheroes that serve all of North Central West Virginia from water damages and sewage backups.
What's the name of that again so I can write it?
Crossroads Property Rescue.
Crossroads.
We are the restoration superheroes. So good afternoon, Clarksburg Water Board. My name is Corleen with Crossroads Property Rescue, your local water damage superheroes. We are a property disaster restoration company with a strong foundation built on our core values: restoring people, restoring property, exceeding expectations, and honoring God in all we do. At Crossroads Property Rescue, we don't just focus on restoring buildings. We focus on restoring lives. Whether it's a water backup, a sewage disaster, or any property-related emergency, we understand the impact it has on families and businesses. Our mission goes beyond just fixing property. We aim to exceed expectations and provide peace of mind to every person we serve. When it comes to water and sewage disasters, municipalities like yours need a partner that understands the bigger picture. It's not just about cleaning up the mess. It's about protecting your bottom line by reducing loss ratios and minimizing long-term damage. A vendor that's aligned with your goals will ensure a swift, efficient response that reduces both financial impact and disruption to your community. Our brand is built on being a hero. We go above and beyond to ensure that every disaster is responded and handled with the utmost care and professionalism. We work with municipalities across the state, with water boards throughout the state to streamline water disaster management, create an efficient process that benefits both local authorities and the communities that you serve. When you work with us, you're not just getting a vendor, you're getting a partner who is unique, who is committed to your success. And we understand the unique challenges that water boards face. And we are dedicated to providing tailored solutions that help you maintain control, reduce risk, and enhance the services that you offer to your community. Thank you so much for your time today. We believe in creating lasting partnerships that go beyond the simple transactions. Let's work together to ensure a safer, more efficient response to water disasters, with your bottom line and your community's well-being at the forefront of everything that we do. We would be honored to be a preferred vendor to the Clarksburg Water Board and look forward to creating lasting relationships. Call the restoration heroes that your customers' homes deserve. Corleen with Crossroads Property Rescue.
Thank you, Corleen. You have some information you can
I
pass
do. I
on
was not sure if I was
to our
allowed to
general-
pass that out
to
or
our
not.
general manager. Yes.
Absolutely. Here's a little pamphlet, kind of details more of what we do. And I mean, of course, you always need magnets, right? It's never gonna be magnets.
Yeah.
And then here, I'll drop some of my cards. I'd love to get a meeting together privately with you guys, discuss how we'd be of value to you guys.
Thank
Thank
you so
you so
Thank
much. I
you.
really appreciate your
Corlene,
time.
we appreciate you being here.
Yes, of
Thank
course.
you.
You guys have a great day.
You too. Thank you. All right, anybody else here as registered to speak or anything?
That's it. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, thank you all for speaking. You're more than welcome to stay for the meeting. It promise we won't be really exciting, but it'll be a lot of information. Okay, let's move on to the next item, which is the Approval of the minutes of the previous
I'll
meeting.
make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I second.
Okay, motion on the floor. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Well, I wish I could write those things that fast.
I can talk. very
16
slow.
pages.
Let's jump right into the financial items.
Yeah.
Jason.
All right, Bob, you ready?
Oh, yeah.
Tell them about the monthly chemical cost report.
2 seconds of fame.
Yeah, you month ending, this is for April 30th, 2025. Go ahead.
April's monthly chemical cost was pretty good, $48,490.39. Nothing out of the ordinary. Site operators did their job, so. Make any questions?
Thank you.
Hey, so far, that was, no, we have 147, the second cheapest for the year, month. We got one.
Yeah, this month's not looking good.
Oh, no. No, they were feeding it today in Hellpack. That river is muddy. Wow. Any questions for Bob?
You guys? All right.
Appreciate it, Bob. All right, Jason, you ready to take the floor on the vendor history reports?
Yeah.
For the month ending and year to date
I'd be
ending
more than happy to answer you guys your questions.
25.
You guys have any?
We, two people who might be watching on the television thing, we tape and delay and so on. We've had a meeting on budget and at that time looked at vendor history and so on. So we just had a work session and went over some of this stuff. And didn't see anything out of the ordinary. Things seemed to be well in line. Okay. So we can accept your report as you presented it.
Okay.
How about the unaccounted water loss?
Yeah.
Jason.
All right, net monthly sales of water was, now this is in thousands of gallons, so, 141 million, or 141,044 net monthly sales of water. We sold, bulk water sales 597, net gallons lost was 65,583. So percentage loss to finish was 29.51. Our year-to-date loss to finish is 20.64. And then our total unaccounted for water was 17.71, which is kind of creeping up from last month.
Target is under 15.
Yep.
We've gotten down pretty good, but it's edging up.
Yeah.
We have any idea what's going on?
We need
Bobby, any reason, anything, we've lost water or anything, it might be creeping up a little bit.
I think volume flushing a good bit.
this is for March though, so
It's just in March.
Well, they were working in March.
Yeah.
I would say we're not accounting for a lot of the water that's lost on.
Well, it's not,
Impacts
it's
and-
not significant, the water loss, but it's
No.
starting to trend up a little bit, that's all. But we'll just keep an eye on it, and make sure we're not having something crazy happening. All right, any questions on the water loss report? All right, so move on now to the budget. We've had a work session, as you know, we went through a very extensive, that's what we spent an hour here prior to our regular meeting going over that. And you want to just give a general thing about year to year, don't go into all the details about increases or whatever, just some general description.
let's see here. I'll just go over the assumption page.
Mhm.
That works just for you guys, since we already went everything else.
That'll be fine.
Board meeting. All right, we don't have really any increase in PI expenses, but we've set those limits on what the budgets are for the next 5 years. So we set those kind of high based off the projections of PIA, and they are within our limits at this point. Diesel and gasoline, we increasing 15% over from the end of the projected year. Our chemical costs actually came down from the prior year. It's down, it's budgeted around $631,000 in chemicals. All other expenses that other than ones outlined, is increased by 3 to 5%. And the general liability insurance only took a $500 increase from the prior year. And like I said, we have budgeted for major capital items, Second Street Pump Station project, finishing project 3A and working on project 3B, and mixers and aerators, the big ones that we've worked on.
Okay. We talked about this in the meeting, but our general manager wasn't in for that, but you were the person doing all the reporting. I mentioned this in the meeting, and I want to make sure we understand here in a public meeting, our general manager, we had this thing on security compliance redoing the little lobby out here to protect our SCADA stuff. And so people couldn't wander the building, and new sliding doors or whatever, some access by codes or whatever to all of our outside doors to track who goes in and out, keep them locked. And the last thing, of course, was some security cameras. And we've been looking at this since 2021-22 budget. And we're now coming up into the next fiscal year budget. And you had in there some of that.
Yeah, some of it there.
Why can't we put it all in there?
What we'll do is, like me and Jason talked about this last
Okay, that's
night.
what I wanted to, because he was here.
Yeah.
You said what? I want him to be
We talked
here.
about last night. What we're gonna do is we're gonna wait till the beginning of the year. We'll do a budget revision. What we'll do is we'll look at the end of the year funds that we have left over. That's.
Now, beginning of the year, because we have people at home, we're talking fiscal year.
Yeah, fiscal year.
Which begins July 1.
Yes.
Okay.
And we'll look at the unencumbered funds, and what we'll do is we'll assign some unencumbered funds to cover that, as from this year to next year for that. And once we get more, he just gave me the number yesterday, about 350,000. So I didn't have that number in hand until yesterday. So it was.
This is 250, but I didn't know.
Yeah, so it's gone up some. And that way there we can have, we can just decide, we can go ahead and use those unencumbered funds for next year.
Okay.
And from this year to next year, and then we can, go ahead and start working on that project.
What if we don't have enough unencumbered, then what we'll do?
And then we'll probably have to look at some of our capital improvement funds. But we should, but I believe we should have enough in there that we should be able to do that.
Okay, I have one more
At this
question,
point.
just for clarification. On our budget, it had, you had 125,000 for security cameras.
And
or
we
something.
upped at 150, for next.
150 for next year.
Yeah.
Would that be inclusive inside of the 250, or the 250 is in addition to that?
No, the 350 is in addition to that.
350? What's that?
That
That's
was,
the total?
that was the total.
So that's not the addition, 250 plus 150.
No, that, the 250, the 350, the 250 is from last year, the number we had in budget that we never used. So that money can actually, we can use that money there and bring it over, and we can do a budget adjustment for that, bring it in, and plus one to add another.
What's the
150.
125, in your print, your 125 for security cameras?
That's the security cameras only, and.
Well, the other
equipment.
250, but the other 250 included security camera and doors.
It's in description, it's written that
Let me see here, let me look, sorry.
Security is the way it's written on the budget last year.
Uh,
Security, compliance, structure removal, doors, access. Oh, okay, then you had 125 on the
Yeah,
on the
cameras, yes.
So it would be, okay, I got you now.
That number there was provided by Clyde when we did,
Well, see, we're thinking security includes cameras,
it
doors.
does not that one.
Security for us is camera, doors, and the facility out here. Yeah, okay. So we can correct this as we go along.
Yes, we can correct that as we go along. It's nothing that, the budget's just preliminary item, like I said, it's preliminary, it's a guideline for us.
Okay.
And then we can make adjustments throughout the year as we need to.
Well, you can see the confusion there.
Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. I don't need to keep that, can you file that somewhere? All right, let's move on with the rest of the order. Any more questions on budget items? Because we went through this pretty extensively when we were here. We just had that little discussion because Jason wasn't present.
Yeah.
Okay, how about we need a motion to approve the budget so you can submit it to the state and so on.
Yeah.
Somebody want to make the?
I'll make a motion that we approve the budget as presented.
Okay, motion.
Second.
It's been duly seconded. We've had a lot of discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
All right, thank you.
All right. Next item, Jason. It's, we're into your manager report and, into the improvements we're making here. You need one of these.
I've got very much my paper here. Okay, so general manager's report and business matters. First thing there is water system improvements project phase 3A and 3B. And the guy up front here in the burgundy shirt, we can, between him and you're gonna probably throw it off the guy back there in the camouflage hat there. Of course, got Thrasher on there advertising for you.
I'll ask Bobby to talk about current construction phase 3A.
Okay,
Bobby
Bobby Tenney, who's kind of like our manager out there in the field with all this project.
I'd be lost without him.
And doing a good job. We have a Bobby, another Bobby, and a Bob, so we have to make sure, this is Bobby Tenney.
Contract one, which is Northview, started Monday. They're on North Ojai Avenue. They prepared to make the tie-in and they're starting down the hill, so they'll just continue on down to the intersection. Their plan is to go up West Virginia past 14th Street and then go up 14th Street and just do all the streets off of 14th. That's their initial plan. And we did find out that West Virginia Avenue and 20th Street are not state right of way.
They aren't?
They are not. They're hidden streets, but,
Who maintains that area out of Arlington addition and
the
all?
state does from Arlington on.
So how do they?
Green Street or Green Street is where the city stops and the state takes over.
Because it's outside the city
It's
limits.
outside the city limits.
But that's an access road. Usually for an access road, they'll maintain it. So they don't,
I wouldn't call it an access, but
how's it gonna get there?
That's
well,
what-
there's
how do you
another,
get to the
there's
road?
another road out of there,
Going in from the back
which
way.
it is a state route over Jack Road.
Over to Summit Park,
Yeah.
and that road, Summit Park going over to Bridgeport is back road by the water towers. That's state
Well,
maintained.
that's good. I mean, it's,
Okay,
So we don't have to adhere to their.
so it's connected to a
Testing
state,
and
it's
regulation.
connected to a state highway
Yeah.
from the backside. Okay.
So they're started. Contract 2 is Staley. Doss Enterprises, they're down on Heartland, Lower Heartland, Verdun. They're making a tie-in tomorrow and they'll have that section of Verdun, South Alexander and Lower Heartland energized and tested to start hooking up customers soon after they get their tests back. So next week sometime they should start going customer service down there. Contract 3 is Armory Road, is D&M. Armory Road is complete. The only thing they have to do is they have to do the patching the road crossings, and they're gonna do that when they start up on Kramer. They said they'll be back on Kramer sometime late summer, September. They're waiting on valve. Contract 4 is the uptown section, East Pike and Main Street, where they are. East Pike and East Main is where that is all taking part. They've tested the line from Holly Electric. They're actually testing down to Linden Avenue today. So that'll all be tested down to Chunky's. So they've been starting to do tie-ins on that side.
So people they're listening on the thing, where you're talking about the energizing and so on. What we're doing is putting water through the main lines,
Testing
And then
it for pressure testing. it,
pressure testing and so
chlorinating
on.
it, and
Chlorinating,
bac-
heavy chlorinating.
bacteria test.
and then we start doing
And then we start.
into the
testing it.
houses, into the meters and so on.
Yeah.
Okay, try talking language so people who are
That's
listening
fine.
can understand.
So, so we done a mass call out, but we've also started, not everyone gets that call, so we started yesterday door knocking just to let people know. that-
And we do the
The
door
tie-ins
knock.
only take 30 minutes or so, so it's not an extended.
When they
time.
do the tie-ins and all that stuff, we go, Nate, you're going, guys, we're doing a lot of personal contacting. That's when we tell them about the super flush thing they
Yeah.
do.
If they're
Starting at the
there-
lowest level all the
Yeah.
way up with cold water.
Yeah, our inspector or RPR has a handout to give them if
Tell
their
them how
line
to
was
do it.
part of that lead alert service line, so he'll hand them that. And then I think Doug will tell you, we're close to having the plumbers for the residential side approved. So that will be ready in a few weeks. And once we do find them, they can start that process of getting them to tie into their houses,
So,
if they qualify.
So when we do the tie-in and they do that big flushing, I what they call this a fancy name.
High velocity flush.
High velocity flush. I call it a super flush.
Yeah.
Anyway, so when they do that, and then the plumbers or whoever's going to do, if they have to have a galvanized line replaced and so on, which would come in a few weeks, will they have to do this? They'll have to do that flush again, won't they? Because they're intermaneuvering stuff and everything or not. Bob, what do you think? You see what I mean?
Yeah.
We're disturbing.
Not everyone has to do the high velocity flush. It's only if you were only if your line is going to be replaced into your house, do you have to do the high velocity. If we're hooking into a copper or PVC line, you don't have to do the high velocity. You just need to run your water to get the air out of the line and maybe clean your sediment filters on the bottom of your spigots.
Now, if you got lead though, and it's copper on their side, they need to
Still
do
have
a high
flush.
velocity.
If it was ever lead, yeah. When we
Yes.
know, well, and we have.
Anytime you have a lead line, so we confuse people. I like to talk in terms, because I'm pretty elementary to understand this. When you have from the main line, a lead line going to your meter, not into your yard, if it's a lead line, then we have to get a flushing thing really comes
Yeah.
into effect.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to the galvanized, that's another issue too.
Yeah.
If it's galvanized on their side, they have to flush.
But if it's PVC or copper or any of those things,
They don't have to do an additional flush or anything. Okay,
It's-
unless it follows a lead line.
The big determining factor, if it was lead coming out
Lead.
of the main
Yeah.
to the meter.
I would say to answer your question would be that we go out and test and see if there's any issues with it. And then if there was some kind of high level, then we'd go back in and test it after the plumber's replaced their side.
That's
If not,
that's where I
then
was
I would
going
say
from.
we're good to go, you know.
That's where we're gonna test the
Yeah,
water.
we've got to test.
But then
it.
if we have to go and the plumber does something and there was lead, a line or galvanized, we have to go back again. Right.
Yeah, well, like I said, if we had a high number, if we didn't have a high number, I'd say we're good because they're gonna replace it with copper and be done with it, so.
Okay, well, we'll work through
Yes,
this.
two ways to look at it.
All right. Anything,
That's it.
any other projects?
That's all for
Thank you,
for the
Bobby.
water side.
You want to talk about the solicitation you have out, is it RFP or
Yeah,
RFQ?
Basically an RFQ, so, request for, qualification
On,
on the plumbers. And so this is out on the market now for people to look at it, plumbers that are interested to be pre-qualified to do the lead service line replacements on the customer side of the meter. Again, we're soliciting a list of these, plumbers. They will give their qualifications. There's a list of things that they have to do, including insurance and bonding and those business license with the state as well as with the city.
and a 1-year warranty.
Yeah, and the warranty. So those are things, a whole list of things that they have to agree to. And then they can be put on a list, and then the customers that have a lead service line that needs to be replaced can choose from those groups of people to come in and do that work for them. So that is out on the market right now.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we'll start populating that list here very shortly. And as the time becomes available, that the water lines are ready to be replaced, I'm sorry, the service lines are ready to be replaced, there will be a list there
For them to pick from. And when you said lead line, it's the line that goes from meter to meter into the house. And we can't find anybody has lead so far.
Right.
But if they've got a line that follows lead and it's something like galvanized, then that's a problem.
That is correct.
And that's what we have to address. Have we talked to the current contractors about, since they're doing any work, maybe possibly on the side doing plumbing work or not?
We've talked to them a little bit so far.
They
They've
don't
not
seem
had
to
a
be
lot of
interested.
interest.
They've got enough to do.
I was gonna say, there's a lot underdoing and more coming.
Yeah.
I just hope we can find enough plumbers to take care of a lot of
Do you have
houses.
any interest so far? I mean, this is your second wave of advertising.
Yeah, I have not seen any, but again, I don't see the day-to-day stuff. But one other thing I do want to emphasize, and please, Bob, correct me if you think I'm wrong on this. You were talking about the high velocity flushing, and I agree, those need to be done with either the lead service or the galvanized following lead service. But they can be done on any service line that is out there. So if there is work that is being constructed, it's not gonna hurt anybody to do a high velocity flush in their system. Because as we do this work, there will be the opportunity, but the occurrence that there is probably going to be some dirt.
Little disturbance is gonna happen.
And so to go in and just turn your lines on and let that little flushing occur, it's not a whole lot of water, but it allows that to flush.
And
It's
it's
about
cold-
a
and it's-
30-minute.
And it's the cold water side, and you should remove your aerators, right?
Jason, if you can talk about the cost. if any is-
Yeah. We can't track it. It would be a nightmare for our office staff trying to track who's required to do the high velocity flush and try to keep track of that. So it's gonna be up to the customer
When they get their bill.
when they get their bill. If it's higher than normal, then they need to reach out to us. And if they're applicable for an adjustment, we'll give the adjustment.
Right. Okay, any questions on that, guys?
But I don't want somebody going out pressure washing their house.
They don't have a pool.
Yeah, pressure washing their house and
Well, we're
saying,
gonna investigate it,
because
so.
we're gonna double check to see if their service was replaced and if it was lead.
Yeah, we'll know that.
And we also can track in our system. Large increases on time on our system too. We can pretty much see what time it happened.
The other update we have is for the phase 3B. Remember that we have decided to combine basically phases 3B and 3C to do that and to move both of those projects at the next bidding. So we've worked and again, met with your staff on what we're looking at as far as additional capital improvements as far as the main lines go that come through on this. And we're kind of narrowing that down, and we'll meet with your staff again to take a look at those numbers and what pipelines we are actually looking at. But we're doing that. We've already started and have most of the aerial, flights done. A lot of the mapping already comprised. We've had our surveyors out picking up the stuff out in the street that doesn't get picked up by the aerial stuff, so.
Are you repeating what you just did on 3B, 3A?
Yes, yeah.
Okay,
So, but the only thing we're doing now is the rest of the project.
and you're mapping the streets or about sections we haven't done.
Yes.
Yeah, I got you on that.
So we're in full force into that already. And, we've had, I think I have told you that we had a conversation with Kathy Emery at the West Virginia DEP. They are the ones who control the lead service line funding part of this project. They had about $15 million plus or minus that they were about to lose because they did not have enough projects. Now, this is the 2023 lead service money. And so if they don't use it, they have to give it back to EPA and they give it to another state to use. So she called and asked if we had a project. I said, amen, brother, we've got a project.
Amen, brother.
And so of your lead service line work, it's about $19 million worth of lead service alone, ignoring the other part of it. I wrote a letter requesting that money of $19 million on your behalf. And I will have a preliminary engineering report ready and prepared to hand to them in June to help provide documentation for her on that. And she is going to send us a binding commitment for that letter now. So all 19 million.
Wow. Now, so again, I'm trying to explain, because again, restating so people understand what we're talking about, see if I understand it. This next phase, our priority one is not negotiable. We're mandated to remove lead service lines.
Yes, sir.
So money is set aside. We have to pay for that. Okay. Then beyond that, since we're tearing the streets up because of all the laterals going all over, we have to look at the main lines and see what ones we can do that are in worse need to have to be taken care of.
Agreed.
Because budgetary, we may not be able to replace every main line in the city.
Right.
It may not be affordable. That is something that was go forward in the future, but the worst case scenarios we have to take care of right away.
Right.
Is that kind of the way I'm looking at it?
That's a very good way of putting it. And literally, one of the things that you talked about earlier, and Jason talked about, and you alluded to, was your slight increase in unaccountable water. You know, by going forward and doing some of these capital improvements you were talking about, starts to reduce that over time, because you do have some older lines in your system that are from the 20s and even prior to that we need to take a look at. And
prior to that, mostly.
Well,
so that's part of the work of what we're meeting with your staff to kind of prioritize those. And then even after this project is done, you will have another capital improvements list that you're going to tackle on a yearly basis.
it's nothing new to us. We started actually delivering water in 1889.
Yep.
It was non-bacterial. It's what bacteria, anything was just for sanitary purposes. People had outhouses. They didn't have indoor plumbing. That was 1889. And then this Clarksburg Water Board was founded in 1909, I think, by legislature. In 1911, this water board started delivering bacteria-free water.
Mm-hmm.
So you can imagine that's 106 years ago. So we've been doing this a long time. I figure some of those lines are out there old. There are some cities. There are some cities that still have wooden water lines. Not here, but there are some big cities. All righty, so
That's your update on 3B.
that's it.
I
Thank you.
want to recognize Tom. Tom's been working closely with Doug and Steve Haynes on 3B. I think another priority, and correct me if I'm wrong, Tom, is getting all of our hydrants that are on a 4-inch line over to a 6-inch line. That is also, I think that's number 2 priority, Tom. Lead lines, fire hydrants.
Fire hydrants.
Getting them
Lead
switched over
service
to.
lines and the fire hydrants, we're mandated to have those out in about 4 years. They have to be completed now.
So the hydrants have to be on a 6-inch line.
They have to be on a 6-inch
Wow.
So we got 2 mandates. Lead,
Those are
of
the
course,
two.
number 1.
Good for thinking.
Number 2 is getting all the hydrants.
So is there gonna be some places we just remove them because it's only 4-inch line and we're no longer allowed to have it?
We'll just switch over to a 6. We'll put a 6 over there, connect them to the main line. And a lot of places in Tom's looking.
You have to have a complete 6-inch line on it.
In a lot of areas that we're looking at, the 6-inch line's not too far away. They're just on a 4-inch. So what they'll do is they'll tap off the bigger line, come over and get that hydrant on a 6
So
inch
it's
and
a
then reduce
section.
it, then reduce it back down to a 4 inch.
Oh, okay.
Or we may move the lines slightly. I can think of one area on Pike Street. that-
How about moving the hydrant a little bit?
We're gonna change it from being on a 4 inch line on the one side of the road to be on a 12 inch line on the other side of the
Yeah.
road.
Just move it across the road.
So we're just gonna slightly make those locations a little bit different on some.
I
of
think
them.
that'd be more cost effective.
But
Yeah.
some, there's also one place that we have a mile of 4 inch line that we're gonna have to, pretty close to a mile of 4 inch line that we're gonna have to replace.
Is that Country Club?
The country club has a few thousand feet or in different
I
locations,
just think
but,
it's a lot of waste of money.
Jenkins Avenue is all 4 inch line.
We just put in there?
Sorry.
Bobby, is that the line we just put in?
We put the line in down off of, by the Shamrock, over Route 50. We
Old
run
Route
it out
50
so
and
far
Adams and Alpha
and
Adams.
tied it in. It never looped.
Right.
We run it out and tied it in, but you got
There's a
from
hydrant there.
Junkins, you got from our city limits all the way back around to that. And there's
Our
like
hydrant there is on a 6 inch that you guys put in.
0.8.
Yeah, this is not a PSC ruling, this is the state law, the lawmakers put in, the PSC's enforcing it. That's the
They're gonna, the
enforcement.
state's gonna help fund all this?
It's one of those unfunded mandates, Paul, unfortunately.
But they're gonna figure out something because we've got long
And all this
lines
happened
outside the
because of
city.
one incident,
But
Charles.
we've taken on to help people out in good faith and everything, and now we're gonna inherit that problem.
But
We didn't
fortunately
put
for
that-
us,
and
it's
we
not
didn't
gonna be
put
a
that
big
line
ticket
in.
item. It's not gonna be a big ticket item for us since it's gonna be included in this project.
It's
I
not
think the longest is that one mile line, that's the longest.
What do you mean it's not a big ticket money? That's a lot of money, I think, to put a line in for a mile.
No, not really, not when it's coming in, and probably that one may be, but the rest of
I
them.
mean,
just-
long lines, short lines, I can understand, but would we go distances and say you gotta do all one big neighborhood, say Clarksburg Country Club or whatever? That's a lot of expense.
Well, I think where Jason is headed is that by doing larger projects, your unit cost goes down lower.
Yes.
So yes,
It's
just the
still
short
big
length of
money.
it is gonna cost you some serious money.
Yeah,
That's
it's-
But the unit cost will be significantly lower because of the, the unit cost.
Yeah, I mean, everything costs money, but by combining it into this project, it's less cost to our ratepayers.
Okay.
Yeah, and we don't have a choice, we have to do it.
Well, I know we
It's
do.
mandated. It's better to do it with project money.
I love it when
Yeah.
they say you've gotta do this and there's no money for
Yeah,
it.
it'll really affect rural communities where they have a lot of 4 inch lines in their rural.
I don't know how they're gonna do it.
I don't know how they'll do it either.
Do you watch, they won't be able to
I
enforce it.
don't, they're gonna have to extend the deadline. You watch the Senate about to extend it.
Now, is there a footage requirement between meters like in our city?
Fire hydrants,
200 feet or something? Or more?
1,000 feet.
Yeah, fire hydrants.
1,000 feet.
Except for in Clarksburg, it's on every city block,
Yeah.
on every corner.
Everywhere.
Yeah, you.
How about out in the country? Is there anything? Because you can drive for
1,000.
miles, you see a,
1,000 feet,
I guess I,
which is also a ridiculous requirement. If you've got 10 miles
Of their-
with no houses,
Right.
but you still have to install a fire hydrant every 1,000 feet is ridiculous.
maybe it's my imagination, but I think going down Saltwell Road from Interstate 79, going down that way, I think I saw one fire hydrant out there. And you go miles this way or that way. What's a fire hydrant by itself sitting out there?
It's a good place to flush, but.
The flush point.
Well, and
Well,
some-
Maybe that's it. Maybe
sometimes
that's,
they also put them out there in a central location because they can't afford to put a lot in. So you put one in just as a filling hydrant. So.
oh,
that
so
it can
fire
go-
departments go fill up a truck.
Yes, sir.
They got tankers. Okay,
Yes,
I
sir.
got you. There had to be some rhyme or reason out there. That's probably exactly what it is. To give them
And,
that.
and to add to that, the reason it's 1,000 feet is because their state required to have 1,000 feet of hose on their truck.
Okay.
They're
All right, we're
mandated.
getting way off the subject. Let's move on. Anything else on this?
Uh,
3B?
I know there was a question about meters and Jason, Tom.
Is this location of?
The location of the meters, yeah.
Because some are in sidewalks, some are
Yeah.
yards.
Who's this go to, Tom?
No. Oh. That's here. There was a question about it, and I know Thrasher designs these projects all over the state, and Doug, you
Thank you.
take care, guys. Thanks for coming. Doug, you can add to what, you got to see what Steve responded back to. You want to add some color to that? Also, Tom, I think he's
Got my own mind.
got both.
you do.
The basic genesis here is that you want your meters, you absolutely want them sitting on your property line, even if they are an inconvenience, because it helps demarcate your service line from the customer's service line. And if you've got it set off of that back on a sidewalk that is not on the property line, and 1 foot away from that meter is a leak, then you got a problem of who pays for that leak. Because technically it's on the customer's side of the meter, but it is on the side that you should own. So therefore it becomes a problem.
Has that ever been a problem in Clarksburg?
Since I've been here.
I can tell you, if it's not been a problem here, it's been a problem across the state, including lawsuits that cost hundreds of thousands of dollars in legal fees.
I thought the sidewalk was the property there.
You know,
I
a
think
fixer
it's
meter,
not
someone
always.
sued and lost hundreds of thousands of dollars
Because
instead of fixing the problem.
they ended up taking it to the Supreme
Because when
Court.
we replaced it.
You know, and it's the same thing with,
Clarksburg,
the whole,
it's on the property.
That's generally it is, yes.
toilet
So we
It's
wouldn't-
right on the edge.
rules and stuff
We
like
would have
that.
to change that.
These things have been a pain forever.
Because they would-
So again, plus, if I'm not mistaken, that it is at the PSC, which says that in the PSC rules that it shall be at or as near as possible to the property line when you're setting.
At or near.
At or near, yes.
Now,
The sidewalk's not out of the question. It's near. And a lot of times in Clarksburg, it is your property line. I mean, there'll be a mark in the sidewalk.
Yes, and most of the time, at least most of the times I dealt with when I was in Morgantown, the backside of the sidewalk was the property. Now, that was more times than not, you can count on that, but it was not always the case. And so we had to look at our street maps to see where the property line was, and that is where we set the meter.
there are some places where you have a concrete sidewalk or whatever it is, right up against the property. There's no yard or anything. You
Yes,
have to be, there's no choice. Or downtown property, for instance.
absolutely.
You have buildings, commercial buildings, they have no choice. The only thing I've noticed, but I've seen it myself, a meter in a yard and the ground settles and everything. Now you got the meter like this, the leak pops off, somebody mows, they step and moves over. I saw one where it was put in a yard, and because I used to mow that yard, it wasn't mine, but I'd mow along and you could see where a backhoe had scooped it out. This has been several years ago, wasn't you, Bobby? It was scooped out and it was like this deep. It was about this deep. And so what you happen, you're mowing along, then you go down into a place about this wide where they dug it out, and then you go up and it was all sunken down in. And that's the only thing. But I think if they do it correctly, you probably not have that problem.
It's the same argument now with whether it's in the sidewalk or in the yard. You have that issue with the sinkage in the yard and people running over top of it with a lawnmower. In the sidewalks, you have the issue of the
Cars
lid not
driving up
being-
on it.
Well, and the lid not being put on properly, somebody stepping on it, breaking an ankle.
Well, these lock, don't they, these new lids?
Well, I know they're supposed to.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're supposed to.
And I get that, but I've been on here 20 years and I don't think I've ever heard of someone stepping in one. Now, maybe the was missing, but like, that's not a common thing, is it?
I fell through one. I got a scar on my shin from 12 when I'm walking up on a temple.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had people step in but no claims. They just call and say, somebody's gonna
Oh,
get
we've
hurt.
had claims, just not recently.
Just,
Oh, we've had-
since I've been
It
here.
wasn't
Since-
on
Since
right.
I've been here, we've had at least 6 or 7.
Oh, Lord, 6 or 7 since you've been here?
So-
Not in the last 3 or last 4 years.
No, but we've had about 6 or 7 over the 13 years I've been here.
So that's since 2012.
And it's not my decision to tell you where to put them. I just simply tell you that where the rules say is out of near the line. That is the standard across the state.
Now, let me ask you one more thing. When we did all this budgeting and so on, did we budget to take them out of sidewalks or to put them in the yards or property lines?
Yes, sir.
So if we go back and make them all go back where they were, contractor didn't account for that, and we had more money. but
Yes, sir.
it's
If
gonna
we-
cost
if
us.
we've got to move them out of someone's yard, to put it in the sidewalk now that we've already done, we would have to pay.
How about
Well,
that?
sure, but moving forward, we're not gonna ask you to move one dirt pile to the other side of the yard. But I mean, going forward, we just wanna make sure it's done right. I mean, these other meters have been in the sidewalks for 80 years. 2 out in front of my house, never had a problem with. Maybe we have problems with them, I'm just not aware of
You
it.
turn it
Yeah.
every way.
We changed the lids for the readers to be flush now too. but yeah.
That's good.
If there, some of them that don't have the lid, they just leave the reader inside of it.
Yeah.
But we do have some areas, like over by Heartland Bridge, there's a retaining wall off the bridge that comes down. We have to put that guy's meter back where it was at. And I don't recall if it was in the grass in front of the sidewalk or in the sidewalk, but
we have no way of knowing how tall that retaining wall is, and we don't wanna dig underneath the footer of the bridge to try to get his water there. And there's I know some places on Golf Plaza, Bobby Mancuso's yard has a nice retaining wall. We're not gonna tear his retaining
Right.
wall out to put a meter in his yard.
And
And then have to patch a retaining wall back that's not gonna match.
Right.
and that's where those at or near applies,
Yeah.
where there is an extraordinary circumstance. And it says, no, you should not go back past that. And it makes sense to put it in front of it. That is for certain.
I know one of the projects has 170 recessed lids, so I think it's the uptown. So we're planning, some of them have to go back in the side. There's no other place to put them.
I'm thinking of a case up in Staley where a woman was saying if they gotta put the line in my yard or something. She's got this old time tree they've had there, a bush or something, and I don't wanna move it, but it's right in front of where the meter is.
Yeah.
And I heard maybe in the sidewalk, I can imagine now telling them, we're gonna put a meter there, plus we're gonna do this. But, some things are not easy.
Right.
But we'll have to see how we go along.
We take them case by case. If it can be moved, we move it.
We
It
just
only
have,
costs us a lot.
so we're gonna have to look at it case by case as we go through it, but most of the time, we're gonna try to get it into the lawn, just right on the property line,
Yes, and unless we're told
most of the
different,
time.
then.
Then you
that's
have to
our-
address it. All right,
Tom, do you have anything to add to that?
Just in my experience, I'll echo what Doug said, is that we had probably 6 or 8 cases in Bridgeport while I was there. And it had to do with either the meter not being relocated or located on the property line, or on the sewer side, not having a clean out on the property line. Because if you don't have that line of demarcation, then it can be anywhere and it's always gonna be your fault. And I don't think we won one of those cases because we didn't have it in the right place.
oh my, okay. Well, let's move on. It's, the meeting for an hour. Let's,
His question was, when you take them out of the sidewalk and put them in the yard, what do you do with the sidewalk? How do you repair that sidewalk and?
Those sidewalks are gonna be replaced because they're gonna get busted up as we.
Just that section.
Yeah, so we'll cut them at the joints. That piece of section gets pulled out and.
and put a new section in.
Yes, sir.
And you demo the well and fill it up? and then
Yeah,
report
the well disappeared.
Sounds good. I asked you that earlier, what we do. We leave the metal lid there and it's hollow underneath. or-
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions, guys? Well,
The
do
only
we,
other
do we
update I
have
have-
sign of a somewhat consensus that we're gonna go along with the recommendation of if it's in the yard, it's on the property line, that's where it goes, unless some unusual circumstances or whatever.
Y'all go
Okay.
back, because what we'll need to know going over into 3B, because we'll have to change course if not. You're all good with that?
I'm good with now, after the explanation.
Paul, I know it's a concern.
Yeah.
Now, remember, there's a year warranty. So if that sinks, they gotta come back and fix it within that year. And we'll just get the word out to our customers. If that sinks over time, they need to call us. Our biggest reporter is a buddy over here, because he walks a lot, and he takes pictures and sends them to me, and we go out and fix them. I mean, these people, if they see their meter sinking in the ground and it's that below the surface, call us, we'll go back and put a riser on it and fix it,
Absolutely.
you know?
Usually the pit doesn't sit, the vert around it will sink.
Yeah.
You're gonna make us feel bad once they start walking go off walking the neighborhood.
He's reported water leaks and everything. I like it. He walks around, he finds
You
stuff.
could walk to my neighborhood, do that.
Yeah.
Thank
Timmy Hills.
Thank you, Paul. We're gonna give you a certificate.
One, another one? The only thing I want to add to that
Let's
is,
move on.
and it's real quick. Remember I told you last time that we were going to send I'm gonna start with the ones that you know. CDS, which y'all know is congressionally directed spending application. We got one out to Shelley Moore Capito's office, and we got one out to Senator Jim Justice's office. So those are out there. On the Congress side, of course, we have Congressman Riley Moore. He was the first one we submitted to. Well, good news. They emailed us, and we are actually coming out of his office with a recommendation of funding.
Good deal.
No, that's
And
great.
that's we did $3 million on all 3 of our congressional members in DC.
Is that in total?
It's 3 million, that's 3 million each,
Each.
that's
Oh,
9
each.
million altogether.
Wow.
So, I feel pretty confident on Riley Moore because he also sets on the appropriation committee.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're recommending that be approved for $3 million. And we sent a bunch of other supplemental stuff there to really give it some more boost. All the, they wanted to see newspaper articles, they wanted letters of support, they wanted a bunch of stuff, and we loaded them up.
Sure.
And I can thank Thrasher for really putting that together. And they put nice covers on it, and it looks really good. So fingers crossed, we should get that. I haven't heard anything. Probably follow up, if not the end of this week, I'll follow up next week with the two senators and see where we're at on their process. Okay, so far, I think we're gonna get at least 3 million, but and I know Shelley gave us that 6.88, but that was a couple of years
Oh,
ago.
that's.
And actually, that was approved before all this lead stuff started. So, but we just used that money for our project, which is coming real handy. So, and Jim Justice is new to everything, and we got pretty good relations with his office. So I'm gonna try to work to get some more money. Okay, and I want to thank Thrasher for helping put those things together. It was like last minute. That's how they do it, isn't it?
Yeah.
You gotta give them this Friday, and I'm sure you did a bunch for agencies too. I didn't wanna, it was the last minute. She always gets everything handed to her. She's got all these deadlines to meet. So Steve and I and
She
Sam.
doesn't have anything else to do but take
Oh,
care
I
of
don't know how
us.
she does it. I have no idea how that girl does it, but she does it. Look, she's got a smile.
Yes,
See?
she does.
So I believe we're all done with that. So Shelby, you're on deck, girl.
Okay, so for consideration, we have requisition number 6. We have a pay application from all 4 of your contractors on this one. I believe you were given a copy of it prior to the meeting.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's just to pay for the work that's been done.
I'll make a motion to approve pay application number 6.
I'm glad. I second that. Thank you, guys. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oh, it came on.
That's it for that one there. Snake Hollow Road Waterline Extension. I'm sure there's not much of an update. They should start next week,
Well,
right?
the update is they'll start Monday.
Yep.
It's the anticipated date pending weather and no issues there, so great news for a project that's been out there for a while.
It's long overdue for those folks.
Yes, sir.
Long overdue. All right, I hope you have good news on this. I hopefully got the paperwork in order. Second Street Pump Station Project.
Snake Hollow, I'm sorry, Second Street Pump Station is, we've got all of their paperwork, their bonds, everything here.
It's like
So-
I can get it recorded.
Yes, we can get everything recorded. We are ready to go. And yes,
Perfect.
project moving.
Good.
Any questions, guys? All right, let's go to the next one.
All right, TTHM removal.
Saw a lot of correspondence on that.
Yes. So if you look, I think I attached the emails
There was several of them.
from Kelly.
There it is.
Slow today.
Wow. Says
So what-
Not required.
The good news is our sole source request has been approved.
Oh, great.
So,
That's awesome. 'Cause
Wigan
it's-
Engineering
it's not
Services
required.
West. So we, because of all the stuff that we did in securing them as a sole source, because Bob went through all the steps by getting 3 in, doing all the vetting. And of course, they were ahead of anybody because they actually came in, done a presentation, done some pilot studies. So, and it's a one-stop shop. So we're going to do the engineering, building the equipment and installing the equipment. So it's one contract. So that, they love that kind of stuff. So Shelby, right now, they give a whole list of things that they want. So we got to get the budget and a bunch of other stuff. It was, as you can see down in the other email, it was almost a full page of,
There was a whole list.
yeah, whole list of stuff. And she's working on it. And I've got to work with her and get the budget stuff. Because remember, when we applied for this stuff, one, it was only 8 tanks. Now it's 9, including the farewell. And we had engineering fees, we had, you know, an installer, all that kind of stuff in the budget. Well, now that's all changed, so we gotta work together and change all that. And she's got some project narratives that she's gotta change. And what else? You got several things you gotta do there.
Yeah, so the application was like a 14-page narrative basically, and that needs
modified to match the current scope. So like you said, there was 8 tanks in the application, you're actually doing 8 tanks and a clear well. There's been some executive orders, so we have to take out information about environmental justice, climate change. The application mentioned that there would be a competitive procurement, whereas now we're doing a design build. So just kind of updating the scope to match the approach now.
So this will be done before our warmer months then?
He said, because their plan is to go ahead and give us the
You say there, so people know this.
EPA, US EPA.
Okay,
We should get the notice to proceed because we should probably have us back by the beginning of next week, you think?
Yeah, I thought maybe Wes would put in together a budget.
Yeah, now that I've kind of dropped the ball, I'm gonna get him involved to help.
Okay.
Yes.
You might want to add them to the people in contact with the thing. We can probably talk tomorrow or Friday, make a better plan, but I'm thinking that as soon as we get this narrative updated, we'll be presented with a grant agreement. So that's what we really need.
Yeah,
We're one step closer.
Yeah,
now,
they want to get this out before June 1st is what they want.
For the grant agreement?
For the notice to proceed, so we can go ahead and move.
originally we got, what, 3.6 million, is that what it was?
3.8.
Oh, 3.8, that was in that original allocation, where we were one of the 16 entities in the United States that got money.
Yeah.
Now, did that, again, was that all inclusive? Because you're talking about engineering and all these other things.
Yeah, well, when they responded back, we included all that with our response for sole source, is that they will provide the engineering, they will build the equipment, and they will install the equipment.
This is Wiggins' agreement with them, but they're gonna do everything turnkey.
Turnkey,
Okay, that's what I wanted to make sure.
it's turnkey.
All right, good deal. Any questions, guys?
They are registered now.
Have you notified Wiggins, I hope?
Yes, oh yes, the very day that I got the email. Yes, I
I've been there
notified them.
patient with us.
Any questions, guys?
But they are registered in the state of West Virginia as a professional engineer. They got all their certifications and stuff in. I think now they're working on their contractor's license.
Well, you know, Shelley and Thrasher and you guys all got it done. Good job.
I mean, we work very good
There was a
together.
lot of pressure to get this done because of the heat in August and so on.
And they are very aware of that. That's every time I talk to them.
Well, the purpose was the effect of chlorine. That's why they approved this project and then to drag it along. Didn't make sense.
If we get the notice to proceed, like we think we're going to by the 1st of June, they believe they can get the clear well equipment in and up and operational by maybe first part of August, maybe even toward the middle, which is still gonna be helpful for Bob. You know, August, September is usually his worst times.
Okay,
Good.
any questions? Okay, let's move on to the short line public service thing next. Thing. O&M.
Okay, short line, and I'll turn the, what our general counsel had to do. I can explain why you had to do what you had to do when you get everything re-signed. This week, we have, 2 of the administrative employees for short line actually training here. They had to leave early today because they had to go back and do payroll. They'll be back here again tomorrow.
Yeah.
So they're here training, and for day 2.5, because they left a half day today, they've been doing great.
That's what you said.
They've been doing great, picking up on everything, doing a good job. So,
Nice people, good deal.
yeah, so we're excited about that.
Intelligent people.
And Tim's got an update on what he had to do.
See you. See you, thank you.
Hi, Shelby.
See you, Shelby.
Bye.
So the PSC staff looked into short line PSC operations and discovered that they weren't funding their cash work and capital account. Recall that in Senate Bill 234 reforms, we are required to fund cash work and capital account, and our account does that. Shortline wasn't doing that. So they wanted us to amend the agreements to say that once we manage their cash flow, we'll fund the cash work and capital account, provide them with reports. So Jason approved that change, so we put that in and resubmitted the amended agreement to the PSC.
Now, that comes out of their income, not out of
Yes,
ours.
sir. Yes, sir. But, you know, Mr. President, the great thing about this combination is once we are combined, they no longer have to fund the cash working capital account solely out of their money. This is economies of scope, where now we're going to have thousands more customers funding this cash working capital, cheaper for everybody.
How many people are there, 12 or 1,400 now? What's
1,200 is
1,200, okay.
So we're gonna save them a lot of money, but, we need to get through this first. It's
Sure.
Still pending at the PSC.
Okay. We thought there would be even more than 1,200, didn't we?
From the records that we got, oh, that's another update, is we finally got the data extraction from their billing system.
Mm-hmm.
That they had to pay $4,000 for a job that only took them probably not even an hour. But charged Shortline $4,000. We gotta do this again at the end of June. They gotta extract it again. So that's gonna be $8,000 out of their pocket just for the data extraction, but we have to have it in order to import it into our billing.
So we can get into it and it's compatible.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but, just some of the things you all know, I'm gonna be going to their meeting, I think the 22nd of this month, to let the board members know. But, and Tim, correct me if I'm wrong, because I know you and I already talked about this. So in order to, so what has to happen between now and the end of June is the board members at Shortline will have to resign from their positions effective June 30th. Okay? So the sooner we get that, the better off we are. I'm gonna explain it to them when I go over it. I hope you're available to go with me. If not,
22nd?
The 22nd, 7 o'clock in the evening.
I'll see.
Is they will resign their positions. County Commission then will appoint the Water Board as the acting board for Shortline PSD. Okay, so you all will be acting in their capacity until we absorb them or merge with them, whatever term you want to use.
Yes.
We can't merge with them until after the project that Thrasher is doing has been completed, not substantially completed. It's signed off.
What's the project? We're talking again. the
Thrasher,
project.
this is, you can explain the project, you probably know a little bit about it. You don't know anything about
I
it?
keep separate.
It's 3.5 million.
So with all the meters and all the stuff they're
It's,
doing.
it's 3.5, I think they got $1 million grant, so I think it's maybe 2.5 to pay back. Don't quote me on that, but I think it's something like that. So they're gonna be replacing all the meters, which is what they're doing now, some wells where needed. The new pump station, they're on, what's that street called, what's that road called, Paul?
Crooked Run?
No, it's that one off, it's Howard,
Howard,
right, Howard.
off of Crooked Road.
Yeah. They got 50 hydrants gonna be replacing with brand new ones, which we're still gonna have to put a bunch out there, aren't we, Bobby?
Yes.
That's 50 hydrants and 100 miles a line. That's not very many. So that, they got a couple thousand feet of line on Crooked Run. I think they're gonna replace, and some other miscellaneous things. I think they got a truck purchased in it, which we won't need a truck. They got two. We don't know what we're gonna do with those. Keep one, sell it, but that's up to you. So we're gonna close that office.
Yeah.
Ideally July 1st, but I know that's a little sudden for the customers. So we may have them working over there, at least one of them working over there, trying to shore things up, maybe 15 days into
During the
it.
transition.
And just kind of then slowly shut it. It may be a whole month, but it's going to be closed down.
Yeah.
That's going to be a huge savings for them. All the admin costs obviously switches over to us. They'll have no admin cost. That's what a big savings for. Because we want, again, like we pledged to them, we want to run that utility as efficient as we can. We're going to do that. We're going to do just that. So that's what I'm going to be, that's the message I'm going to be delivering to them when I go to their meeting later this month. I just talked to Ryan Holcomb the other day at one of our events that we went to. And Lumberport is fixing some of their leaks. So they're slowly getting everything under control over there. They just put all the new meters in, that helps some, and they're fixing some leaks, and that's helping some. So they're getting their accountability under control. They have a long way to go, but they're getting it under control, because the last thing they want to do is buy water when they have that. I mean, it was 70% unaccounted for.
Yeah.
I mean.
They don't want to pay for water that's leaked out.
No way, you do not want to purchase water if you have that big of a loss, there's no way.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll bankrupt your town just in no time. So, and they know that, and they're getting aggressive on getting it fixed. I think the town of Metaphor's trying to help them out, Real Water's trying to help them out. So,
Our last meeting, you mentioned there was issues with the meter installation out in Shortline. What was that? Has been corrected?
I think it's a communication gap, and I've been working on that. I actually called the contractor a couple of days ago, which is Green River, same contractor we had out there. They haven't subbed out, and I can't remember the Mountain Hoss. I knew it was Mountain something, but I didn't know the whole thing. These people has replaced meters all over the state. They know what they're doing. I don't know what's transpiring there, but I'm gonna get to the bottom of it though. I'm gonna get to the bottom of it.
Who
So
inspects all the work they're doing?
Brasher's got an inspector, walks around.
Another question now, we talked about the office and then management and all that, that part of it. Let's talk about the distribution. I had one question, it's a little off the subject. Since we got the water lines going up clear into Wetzel County, and then you have pockets of the houses, you may go, half a mile, not see a house. Now you see a house. How many fire hydrants have to be in between there? It just, is
One
it
every 1,000 feet.
1,000 feet.
even along the whole line? If there's nothing out in the boonies, there has to be one.
Absolutely. 1,000.
It's your state legislature for it.
Wonderful. I thought maybe we had to put them like, if there's a pocket of houses or house, clusters of houses or something.
That's how we're gonna do it. I mean, this is ridiculous. And it's something that has to be addressed. These statewide guys like Mr. Smith here need to start talking.
Yeah, you go out there and there's nothing you could burn or anything. I guess you could fight a brush fire. I don't know.
Car fire.
But a lot of the places out there, there may be a house here or there, a cluster of houses, or one
They
meter
don't.
might.
They don't understand opportunity cost. If we spend the money on a fire hydrant we don't need, we're not spending money on something we do need.
It's not fair to our
It's
ratepayers.
not fair.
And then the other thing too is with Bobby's department. So when, as far as things that go on out there now, any kind of, they have breaks or anything like that, who's covering?
All right, we just found out today, one of their employees broke his back. It's gonna be off work for quite some time.
Work
So now-
related, work
Not
related.
non-work related though. This
Are
was
we-
on his personal.
Are we
side.
backing up things out there now or helping out or what are we
As
doing?
of Monday, we're gonna have a guy out there helping read meters.
Okay, that's what I'm kind of, see as we go forward and
That's gonna be, like I say, we're slowly gonna be,
phasing, transfer it over.
Learning the system.
and plus, yeah, because the guy that's gonna be assigned out there to read meters, that's the one Bobby is sending out there. So a perfect opportunity. We're helping them and we're helping ourselves.
Well, the guy who actually say you got a water break, they got a guy who responds, right?
Yes, sir.
Somebody they call out. He does not full time, is he?
No,
So they call somebody out to fix it.
Yes.
Now, after, when we take it over, it's our responsibility. In the interim, if they have something, that guy still continues to do that?
no.
Are we gonna be able to utilize him or what do we do?
No, sir.
You mean in the
No.
interim before we take it over? He can't do it, who does it then?
Our guys,
I
July.
mean, right
1st.
now, I didn't say July
Oh, no,
one.
no, that guy
You-
does
Oh,
right now.
right now,
I
he
said it.
does.
You didn't listen to me. I said in the interim between now and we take it over.
Yes, till June 30th.
I was gonna say, if he's not doing it, are we trying to help him out?
If he's unavailable, then we'll go out there.
I just wanted to make sure. I didn't know how we were.
We'll do whatever we can to help.
We just gotta do whatever has to be done, gets to be done. Right?
Yep.
And then as far as having equipment out there and all that, are we gonna get up to speed to get that all ready or how? we
And
gonna
that was
do
in your budget. Yeah.
Saw that budgeted, but July 1 comes pretty fast.
And I talked to Jason, not to get back on the budget, but I talked to Jason, he's gonna determine, which way he wants. That's $200,000 just come right out of our
That's a lot
account,
of
right out at
money.
the beginning of a fiscal year. And I prompted him today about another lease purchase, maybe for both of
Well,
them.
July 1's coming really fast. I'm just saying in the interim, how we're going to pay for this to handle it.
Yeah.
Like we have to put some equipment out there. We talked about constructing. You guys build a building down there, it's marvelous, something that's protected out there. Because we can't put something on a trailer and run out there all the time it takes.
Right. Now,
So there's some basic stuff, an excavator or something we need to keep out there.
Yes, sir. I'll put our oldest piece of equipment will be down there.
It's still good functional.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
yes, it's still good shape. It's not gonna go down and break down or anything.
Have we
like that.
identified a place we can put a store it or anything yet?
Working on that.
You're working, okay, I just wonder, I know you guys are
Got a
doing all
plan.
this. but- Okay,
Yeah, I mean, it's really, I thought it was far out there, but now that I know where I'm going out there, it's not that far.
Yeah. it's not bad.
No.
So it's not,
I go to Gory Hill, Mango.
It's not bad at all.
Out there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're
now, the
even-
first time I went out there, I thought it was forever to get there. Been out there a couple times, it doesn't seem like it's that far.
We go Crooked Run,
Yeah, they didn't know. That's where he took me the first time.
or even through Wilsonburg.
Gregor's right.
Yeah, Gregory's Run, yeah. I just go out over Dalmont Hill and make a left and you're in Lumberport. They're both there right out.
Quicker down Gregory's Run.
Isn't that faster?
Gregory runs faster,
You
yeah.
think Gregory
You can
runs
drive a
faster?
little faster on Gregory's Run.
Oh, okay.
Tim, were you able to get through all that before we interrupted you?
Yes, sir. I don't, nothing else to add. Recall that this has been referred to the Administrative Law Judges Division, so I'm working with PSC Staff Council to try to get this thing moving.
And they're pro consolidation, right?
They ought to be.
They say they are.
They say they are.
I don't
We've been through
understand
this.
why this has become a obstacle. All of a sudden, throw another wrinkle into it. I don't understand that. Is
Mr.
it
President,
bureaucracy
I can only guess that the PSC is trying to provide a forum for customers in Shortline who may think this is a bad idea.
A protest thing?
And then would invite them to come to a public hearing and make comment. That's the only thing I can think of, but it's certainly.
Public hearing in
also-
Charleston. They gonna have it in Charleston?
No, they have to have it.
Oh, they'll have it here?
You know,
But
you-
as Paul suggests, it's contrary to what they've been talking about, which is consolidating to harvest these economies that we're doing.
Which is in their interest. Okay,
It's in our interest, the public's interest. So.
that's what I'm saying, in their interest, and we're here for them. It's a win for everybody, I hope. Okay, let's move on then.
So, all that stuff's already been filed?
Yes, sir.
Everything's sitting there? I mean, we turned it around in 24 hours. He
When-
said, well,
When's a possible hearing in the fall or something?
July, what was the date? September 11th.
That's the decision due date, yeah.
So if we take over July 1, oh, that's the O and M, that's all we got.
That's what we're talking about, the O&M agreement.
They have to, that's the hearing on that?
Well, we have to have the approval
I
from the
thought the
PSC.
hearing, I
before
thought the
we
hearing
go.
was going to be if it was an acquisition.
With the strategy that Jason's briefed you on today, that the board is going to essentially all resign on June 30. I'll share that with the PSC and see if that.
Oh, okay, I got you. That's a new scenario with them resigning, and that's a new thing, isn't it? Because if they didn't, that would really present a problem.
We'll work around it.
Okay.
And I'll do my best to move this thing.
Got you, I know. You're the man, put the
You
man
you
on
have
it.
three entities, Shoreline PSD, Harrison County Commission, and Clarksburg Water Board, all agree this is the best
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
We're gonna wait for somebody in Charleston.
But the thing is, no public hearings in that whole process.
No, there may be.
No, I'm talking about the way it is, if all three parties agree.
All right.
They could go to the county commission.
All these actions have been done in public hearing. Every vote you've made about this is in public session.
Well, it's all public.
County commission, same. PSD, the same.
Yeah.
So everybody had their chance to say.
Yeah. But a lot of
Why we
times,
need
but a
somebody
lot of
from Charleston.
times when you do these, they schedule a specific public hearing date on a lot of these things. I know they can come anytime. Yeah.
I think once I get the resignations in hand, I think we'll get a decision pretty quick. That's.
Yeah,
What you call fait accompli.
it's a different way to do it.
It's a workaround.
Yeah.
Mission accomplished. Oh, I don't want to say that.
You're a creative general manager finding a way around the barn, torturing his lawyer.
All right.
I'm not, believe me, they're,
All
I've
right,
already talked to
what's
them.
the next
They said,
item?
where do we sign? So.
Any more on this O and M? Do we have to vote on this because there's no
sir.
changes
No.
now? It's just information only. All right, the next thing is our medical, MAL, medical.
Yes, you got a copy of it, and, actually, the agenda item tells you what I did, so.
Yeah.
I can explain it to you, it's really not,
Well, for the record, we have people watching, it's always, I hate these meetings you go to and they say, I approve item number so-and-so, and I do this. Nobody has any idea what they're talking about. You
I'm
might
gonna
just
figure
say
out,
one
I'm gonna
of these.
figure out how to tap these things.
Okay,
Struck me crazy today.
want to read it off of that?
Yeah, so the first one you see there, that's the current one we have in place, okay, and it was, that policy became effect on Thursday, September 1st, 2022.
Yeah.
So we had a situation here, a couple days ago, where we had an employee that took the day off, and that employee doesn't like to go to Morgantown, so when that employee goes to Morgantown, they set their appointments up, one after another, so it's like 3 appointments, because they don't like to go down there, so they get them all lined up in the same day. So her supervisor told her that she could take and use the 2 hours for each appointment, because it's per occurrence. But they're also in there says they can only use one 2-hour appointment, one a day. So, and it shouldn't matter. It says per occurrence. So my recommendation is to remove that. Because basically it says here, I'll put it in there, so whoever wants to read it, that's exactly what you need to say for the motion. Is to, an amendment removing employees may only use 2 hours of
One day.
MAL per working day.
Yeah, per one.
I want that removed. I'm recommending it to be removed and adding. So once that's removed, then that's, well, that fixes that. And then I want to put in there, all previous policies, policy changes or amendments relating to MAL are now null and void as of the effective date of this policy. Any issues not specifically addressed in this policy shall be forwarded to the general manager for resolution. Because every time something happens, I don't have to keep coming in here to you all and having to change it. If there's an anomaly, I should have the authority to resolve it somehow.
Sure, but it's still gonna be 16 hours per year.
That's correct, yeah, none of that changes.
It's just how they use it.
Correct.
Yeah, I think it just makes sense.
Yeah.
Do you have any opposition or questions? Okay, let's make a formal vote on it. It takes a motion to change the medical appointment leave policy. Somebody want to make the motion? That's effective May 14th today.
Yeah, it's effective immediately.
Make a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the recommendation.
I second, we have to state it.
If you,
No, it's okay, he's gonna ask.
I'll get it written
He'll
down.
put it in there.
That's
It's
exactly.
just like I just said, medical appointment leave policy effective May 14th. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. All right, next thing is, any reports, anything like that? Jason?
Right here it is. I'll read this real quick. Okay, high school youth pre-apprenticeship program. Yesterday morning, the Clarksburg Water Board hosted a high school youth pre-apprenticeship program event on our campus. Approximately 30 students from Liberty and RCB high schools attended. The event began with a 45-minute presentation, after which students were split into two groups for hands-on tours. One group toured the water plant, led by Jay Petrulik, while the other visited the distribution area with Bobby Pizzini. Representatives from Core Maine provided interactive demonstrations with fire hydrants and water meters. The event was well received and ran smoothly. Thanks to everyone who contributed to make it a success.
It was,
Want something to add to that, because you were here?
it was a very good day. We contacted all the media and they all seemed to express interest, but they always have to run it past screeners, testing and so on. The old day, you just call up, talk to the news assignment director. You can't do that anymore. We have screeners that want to say, what's it about? Send us emails, all that stuff. And then they run a story about Trump and the airplane. That was the lead story. And it's going to be on again at 6:30 on NBC, you know, that kind of thing. So we didn't have any media show up after we gave leads. And what was her name from the Board of Education?
Dr. Beckett?
Yeah, she mentioned, in fact, she's about the possibility of preparing a press release. And we have some pictures. How come, can we do something like that?
Yeah, the easiest way to do that, and it's gonna give a good answer, you're gonna have to email it to our main news account, and typically won't do any pressure.
Is that, who is that now?
It's, I can write it down for you.
I got the address about the THEE, all that, but is it to any specific person or anything?
No, I mean, that's the easiest way to get in front of John's face.
I could call John.
You can let him know it's in there, or
Yeah.
shoot John a text, let him know it's
So
in
we
there.
need to get some publicity. Here's something that's good for the community. It involves training people. It's going to be in an area of need. A lot of times people go out to these fairs and so on. Nobody ever discusses about opportunities working for a water system. I mean, it's good paying jobs, benefits. You never hear it. And with this pre-apprentice program leading into apprentice, we've already got a couple of good people working for us through this. So you have people from the state, our state organization, local people involved, the Board of Education, and a bunch of students from a couple of schools, and not a word on it, which is a win-win for this total community. It's a good thing. So we need to get the word out. I mean, it's a good story, positive story. And so we'll get in the newspaper, you know, our TV reporter back here, he's supposed to fall asleep, we'll wake him up. Anyway, we'll get it.
He is our, what is
He's
it,
TV
PIO?
he's our TV spokesperson.
All
right.
Bobby back here.
No, we're
I thought
talking
I
about
get that
Bob, not Bob. There's a difference
I
between
give it
Bob.
up already.
It's between Bob and Bobby's.
Oh, okay.
All right, but anyway, it's a good day. It went really smoothly.
Very good, yes.
And I think it's well received. Thanks for putting it all together, you guys.
Yeah, it took
Okay,
all of us.
That's the last piece of business for the regular meeting.
The Wolf Summit Energy Center, I'll have General Counsel jump in here. We've got so much going on.
Wolf Summit Energy alternate extension agreement has been approved by the PSC. And we're waiting on the engineering agreement from Mr. Smith. I
Come on, let's
suppose.
get her done.
Remember that this project is one that's paid forward by the applicant, Wolf Center Energy. So
Yes.
once we get an estimate from Mr. Smith on the design costs for the project, we'll send that along to Wolf Summit. They'll deposit that into our account and we'll pay out as we go forward.
Draw down.
That expensive engineer that we have, draw down on that account. And then Same with, once we start the construction phase, they'll have to deposit the estimated amount of the construction costs, and we'll pay forward on that as well. So no money out of the general fund.
Good deal.
But we're the ones that signed the contract with Grasher,
Yes,
not
sir.
them, they just pay for it.
Yes, sir.
So we do everything like normal, and that's almost like grant money coming in, right?
It just passes through us. We don't cost us anything.
The sanitary board's doing a parallel project, and happily, they're smart enough to hire Thrasher as well. They got a better engineer than Doug. So we're moving in parallel here, and
So there's got approved
projects.
there.
Theirs is approved as well. The project is on, green, ready to go.
I got a call, I was busy trying to call from Curtis Wilkerson.
Has anybody know what's going on out there? Because they cleared some trees and moved some stuff around.
They're
And
capping the well.
what?
They were capping the wells out there the other day. I had to go up there and look for a truck that didn't car. Anyway, yeah, they're capping.
No, they
the
already
wells.
gone. They already had the
already
money
left.
truck.
Yeah, they already left.
So what there, I mean, there is work being done. They're moving forward.
Not any site work, but they're
No, I-
capping the wells. Yeah, you're right. The clearing has been done. They cut all the trees.
Because everything has to have its place. They got some things. What I'm saying is they are doing something, whether it's capping wells or.
I think they're serious and ready to go, evidenced by the fact that they've asked for the sanitary board financial information, the bank account, the routing number and all that. So they're ready. As soon as we get Doug's estimate, we can get that to them.
I think that's what he wants. Yeah, he called today.
Yeah, I asked them, the reason I asked them, they asked me this weekend, I was in Morgantown, they said, what's gonna happen with that project? If so, we never hear anything more about it and everything, because they have an interest too, they're in electricals and all that. And I said, I really haven't heard, I just know they've done some clearing of property, and that's all I know, there's been some meetings going on, but
It's a go now.
I said, but there's no moving of dirt or anything that I know of. So, okay, what else?
All right, Science Wolf Summit. Okay, the water treatment plant generator replacement project. So on April the 9th, we submitted a hazard mitigation grant application to the West Virginia Emergency Management Division for the water treatment plant generator replacement project. Today, Shelby and I received an update from Tammy Sneed from WV EMD. She indicated that because our project cost exceeds $1 million, a benefit cost analysis is required. So we're $50,000 over. Before the application can be forwarded to FEMA. So we have until June 14th to submit this analysis. Shelby and I will be preparing the requested documentation over the next several weeks. Then lastly, Lloyd Avenue water line replacement. The Lloyd Avenue water line replacement project is now fully complete.
That's at Clarksburg Country Club, right? Because people may have no idea what that is, okay?
Our distribution staff performed outstandingly, completing the project in-house and saving our ratepayers over $100,000 in the
Way to
process.
go.
So thank you to everybody involved for their hard work and dedication. Make sure you let the guys know that. Anything add to that?
They did a great job. Stayed in, kept busy.
No complaints. I think they had one little thing, but they fixed it.
Yeah.
But
Guy had to be at work at 1 instead of tomorrow.
very, I mean, didn't even know they were up there working. So I
He
mean, that's,
wasn't mad, he just come.
that's
back
how I
and
like
started
projects.
saying,
It's not the end of a regular meeting.
yes.
Can we do a
Bob
quick
Davis, you have anything?
go around?
Bobby Facini,
What's that?
you have anything to add
Any
for
more thing that we may
reports?
have missed?
No, sir, flushing
Bob,
hydrants and roll
Tom,
Tom? Tom's been working, he's helping Bobby Facini on the
on off water.
bulk water station down
good
here.
deal.
Because we have to we gotta get the site ready. The equipment is ready. It's already built, ready to ship here, to install, but we have to get all the concrete work down there ready and get I call it an island.
How long is
Settle
that
on.
gonna take and what are we projecting now?
He's starting Monday. He's starting Monday on
He's
it.
starting
He,
on,
We're gonna start Monday.
Bobby Facini, his crews will start Monday. And Tom, you're coming in. The prints they sent us, only an engineer can read them because there's a lot of missing information on it. So, I mean, we looked at it, I'm like, okay, I can see we've got to put all threads on it, but how far space do they have to be? And where inside that island piece, they need to come up out of there, you know? They sent us no bolt pattern. It's just, so Tom had to dissect it. So we got a pretty good handle on it though.
anybody else with comments?
And that's it.
Okay, how about a motion? We got an executive session coming up.
Yes, we got to call our attorney. Yes.
Okay, anybody else? All right,
I move to go into executive session under attorney-client privilege.
second that, okay, it's been moved, it'll be seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. And present will be our attorney and our manager and our.